Thank you, Karun. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the last webinar in this series of coffee from bean to cup with Gihan Veerasinghe. Gihan here has chosen a very nice topic considering that summer will be back shortly, making us look for cooling rather than warming drinks. So today's demos are on iced coffee drinks. As always, I will post your questions to Gihan at the end of the webinar. So do type them into the chat as we go, and I will collect them for you. Without further ado, over to you, Gihan.
Thank you very much, Shanaz, and thank you very much for joining us today. So maybe some of you join us in past 3 webinars, and maybe some of you joining us for the first time. So in our past webinars, we started with how to choose your coffee beans. Then if you remember, we went for the perfect brewing methods. And last week, we were talking about cappuccinos, lattes, and flat whites. So maybe some of you were thinking we have forgot you, especially the people who love their iced coffees. No, we not have forgot you. So today we're going to do a special episode all on iced drinks, and we have come with some genius flavors to present today. So we have chosen 3 interesting drinks. So the first one is the cold brew. Cold brew have been a hit in past 3 to 5 years. It came in different colors, different flavors, in different infusions. So maybe you're familiar with the cold brew, the nitro cold brew, and all other flavored cold brews. So this is a very simple drink to make. And today I will be discussing I'll be sharing my experience, how to make your perfect cold brew at home. So when we talk about the cold brew, what's important about cold brew or what's special about cold brew from other coffees? All the other coffees what we brew normally, there's heat is involved. So you need the heat to extract the flavors of coffee in a normal scenario. But in cold brew, there's no involvement of any heat. You brew the coffee from room temperature or cold water. But what happens is you're going to have a long contact time. So the flavors, the aromas, all the characters of the coffee will be dissolved to water with time. So to make a cold brew, normally you're looking at anything from 16 to 24 hours of time on brewing time to release all those flavors and aromas. So minimum you're looking at 16 hours. If you want more flavors, always you can go for anything from 20 to 24 hours. And the next thing, when you're working with cold drinks, it can be iced cappuccino, it can be iced mochaccino, it can be iced latte, or it can be a cold brew. Always Arabica coffee is the best for cold applications. If you're trying to make a cold drink what has some Robusta in it, once in a cold application, those Robustas, the harsh notes kicks in. So Robusta, what has Robusta in a blend, it works perfectly on your hot drinks. But when it comes to cold drinks, the perfect is Arabica. So either you can go for Arabica blend, or either you can choose a single origin Arabica. So for me, for cold brew, I have tried different types of coffees. I have tried the Kenyan, the Ethiopian, but my personal favorite is the Colombian coffee. So people who in the coffee industry or who have tried making cold brew, most of you will be agreeing with me. So the perfect coffee for me for cold brew is the Colombian coffee. So to make a cold brew at home, you need few things. Not much. It's very simple. There's no rocket science. You need a nice glass jar. So you can choose this according to your preference depends on how big or how many members you have in your family. But looking at 16 to 24 hours, if you go for example, a smaller jug, it's not worth the time. So if you're making a cold brew, at least go for 1 liter, 2 liter. So it will be enough for everyone. So I'm going to brew 1 liter cold brew today. So when it comes to cold brew brewing, the coffee to water ratio is very important. So if you join us in the second day, I was talking about coffee to water ratio. So the coffee to water ratio remains the same for most of these brewing methods or brewing mechanisms. So you can use anything from 50 to 65 grams of coffee to make your perfect cold brew. So you need a glass jug, you need some coffee beans, and the next step is grinding your coffee beans. So for cold brew to have the perfect brew, the flavors, you need slightly coarser grind size. So you're looking at a grind size what's very similar to the French press. Best is to grind your coffee at home. But if you don't have a grind at home, what you can do is you can ask your roaster or the local coffee shop to grind your coffee beans to have. Today I'll be using a V60 filter to strain my cold brew. Either you can use a cloth filter. The cheesecloth works very well with cold brew. So today I'll be showing you how to brew a cold brew using some simple stuff and a V60 filter. So I have my coffee, pre-measured coffee. I have 60 grams here, so I'll be using 60 grams. If you prefer lighter flavor, you can go for 50 grams as well. So this part, it depends on your preference. I like a little bit of more flavor, so I'm going for 60 grams more, slightly into the high side. So now next what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind my coffee. So Faizan will be showing you close-up shots on this, how I grind my coffee. So I have set my grinder for the filter press, for the French press. So I'm just going to grind my coffee, the total 60 grams. It will be a little bit noisy, but don't worry. So that's my 60 grams of coffee. So if you see the grind consistency, it's not very fine, it's a coarser coffee grind. So this 60 grams of coffee will be enough for me to brew 1 liter of cold brew. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glass jug now. I'll put in the weighing scale because I don't have a 1 liter water bottle. So once you set your weighing scale, simply just put the coffee in. Now, the next step, very simple. I'll be using cold water, or either you can use room temperature water. So I'll be pouring 1 liter of water into this glass jar to make sure that all the coffee is wet. So it's very simple. So not very complicated. You don't have to go in rounds. You just can pour the water in the center till it hits the 1 liter mark. So 1 liter mark is the 1000 gram mark normally. So I'm at 900, and that's my 1 liter. So once it touches the 1 liter mark, what you do is you take your wooden stirrer and you give it a nice stir. So what you do is you're making sure that the coffee and the water is all mixed together. So this will help the coffee to release all its flavors. It will be giving it character. It will be giving it flavors. It will be releasing all those aromas. So once it's done, what you do is you put your lid on, and this goes to the fridge. So right now it's around 210. So if you want a nice perfect cold brew, you can enjoy this tomorrow afternoon. So if you try it around 10 in the morning, that's a perfect 16 hours. If you want more flavor, leave it till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So now I'm going to just remove this to the side, and then I have my coffee, what I brewed yesterday. So this batch I did around 2 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. So If you see, it has a very nice color. It looks like a tea. And if you see closely, the coffee and the water have separated. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to filter my coffee. So let me try to get it in the middle so you can have a closer look. So this coffee was brewed for 24 hours. So in the last minute, I don't want to spoil it. So what I'll do is I'll put my filter and I'll just wash my filter be safe. I don't want any of those paper flavors coming to my cold brew. So if you don't have a paper filter, of course you can use cheesecloth or any cloth filter, or even if you can, even you can use your French press to brew a good cold brew without any problem. So that's my filter, what nicely washed, will not give me any paper flavor. Now I'm going to just pour my cold brew very carefully. I'm not going to brew all the coffee for now because I don't want to waste your time. I'll be just brewing around 1-2 glasses, what will be enough for now. So cold brew is a perfect drink to enjoy, especially this part of the world because it's really hot here, and this is a drink what's really refreshing if you have it in the correct way. So there's few different ways of having a cold brew. Either you can have it straight with ice. So you take a glass, you drop some ice cubes, and you enjoy the cold brew. If not, you want you to be really refreshed, you can choose some flavors. So there are some amazing fruit flavors, some genius flavors, what goes very well with cold brew. So for me, my favorite is peach garden, passion fruit goes very well, blackcurrant goes very well, green apple goes very well. Any of these fruit flavors what have to citrus notes, it really works, or it really enhances the flavor of cold brew. So how to enjoy a cold brew is, you drop a couple of ice cubes. I think that's perfect. Now I will pour my cold brew in. So if you look, it doesn't look like a regular coffee. It has a very nice texture to it. It has a very beautiful color. It looks like a tea, but in the same time, it has a very nice body because this coffee has been brewed for 24 hours. So all those coffee flavors are mixed in, and all the flavors are there with the perfect aromas and all the characters of the coffee. And the other thing, again, as I said, what's important about cold brew is because there's no heat involved in the cold brew process, it doesn't have any of those bitter notes. It doesn't extract any of those bitter notes of the coffee, and there's a lot of sweetness. To make it more interesting and even more perfect, what I can do is I can pump in 2 pumps of peach garden, what it will make a very refreshing drink. So put 2 pumps without any guilt because these are real fruit flavors. So the other thing is when you're choosing syrups for any coffee, you have to look for the flavors what has the natural flavors because some of the syrups can be really a lot of sugar, but this syrup has the real fruit flavors. It's perfect. So this is a simple way you can enjoy your cold brew. If you want to make it a little bit advanced, if you want to go to the next step, what you can do is you can go for a carbonation. So this is a simple tool what you can use for carbonated drinks. There's a lot of different tools in the market. You can get a soda flask, you can get a crystal sparkling, or my favorite is the Perlin. So you put the cold brew here, you lock it up, close, give a little bit of carbon dioxide, shake it, and you have a sparkling cold brew, but amazing to have. And this will be a drink what you can enjoy throughout the summer, what will be coming very soon. So that's how to make a cold brew at home. So keep your questions coming in. I'll be answering all your questions towards end of the session. So if you have any questions, please type your question in. So now we have another interesting thing. What have been very famous again in past few years. This is a very old drink. What have been around for long time, especially if you have visited to Vietnam. It's called Vietnamese coffee. I remember I used to have this at home when I was really young as well. So you'll be very familiar with the Spanish latte. So Spanish latte is one of the most sold coffees in most of the coffee shops in UAE or in this part of the world, in the Middle East, because a lot of people have that sweet tooth. They like that sweetness into the coffee. So that sweetness of condensed milk with that thickness of the milk, it gives a perfect balance to the drink. And this is another very simple drink you can make at home. So you need a sweetened condensed milk. You need some milk of your choice. You can use either cow's milk or you can go for plant-based milk according to your preference. There's no problem. Then you need some coffee. So let me show you how to make this drink. So you take your glass. It's good if your glass is nice and cold. First you put your condensed milk. So I'll go for 30 ml of condensed milk. So once your condensed milk is in, now you put your milk. I like full fat milk, house milk. So I'll pour milk, leaving space for my espresso and few ice cubes. So once that's done, now what you can do is you can do a nice stir to these two, so it will be perfectly mixed and blended together. So once this step is done, I'll be going to the espresso machine to brew my espresso. So Mr. Faizan is following me as usual to the espresso machine. So either you can make this with 2 shots, either you can go with 1 shot. And the other thing about Spanish latte is you can either make it hot or you can make it cold. So if you remember last week we were talking about the hot drink. So today I'm going to stick to the cold drinks because I don't want any of you to get upset with me thinking that I forgot you. So I'll be using 1 cup. So if you're making a hot drink or if you want a hot Spanish latte, the only difference is don't put ice, steam your milk. So put the condensed milk first into the glass, first condensed milk, then put your steamed milk, then you can top up with the espresso. So then you can enjoy a hot Spanish latte. What we're doing today is the cold Spanish latte. So done. So I have my milk and condensed milk mixed in. Now I'm going to drop few ice cubes in to make the drink colder. And now I'm going to drop my shot of espresso. So it will give a nice clouding effect, what's really nice to look at the camera. And then you have your perfect Spanish latte, what you can enjoy. And Spanish latte is Faizan's favorite drink, so I'm going to give it to him. You can have it later. So simple drink again to make. You can enjoy any time of the day, and this is one of the most sold coffee everywhere in UAE. So what you need is very simple ingredients. You need some milk, you need some sweetened condensed milk, and you need some coffee. So the other thing what I want to say at this point is when we're making cold drinks, we have different techniques of making cold drinks. So leaving the cold brew in the side, when it comes to this technique, what I have done is I have built the drink straight away in the glass. So this is like pour over ice or it's a build up drink. So easy to make, if you're running a coffee shop, if you're planning to run a coffee shop, if you want to make cold drinks faster, this is one of the most simple way to make your cold drinks. So the next thing what I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to use a slightly different technique. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a cocktail shaker. So this will be a shaken drink. And again, I have another genius flavor that you'll be familiar with, spice chai syrup. So spice chai latte. So maybe some of you thinking that I'm going to make tea. No, don't worry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a coffee. So this will be a spice chai latte what has some amazing spiciness into the drink. What will keep you warm in the winter. So this is a perfect drink to have in the winter season. And once we hit the summer, you can have a Spanish latte or cold brew. So let's see how to make this drink. Again, it's a very simple drink. What you need is a cocktail shaker, or even you can use 2 glasses. You need spice chai syrup, you need some milk, and you need some ice and coffee. So this drink will create direct into the cocktail shaker. This is going to be a drink for shaken and done. So again, I'm going to get my shot of espresso. Then we'll see how to make our drink. Actually, I can use this shot. If you see, it's still good. It has the beautiful crema. So I don't want to waste it. So I'll use this for my spice chai latte. Again, even in this drink, you can either use 2 shots or 1 shot according to your preference. If you want to put 2 shots, no problem. You'll get a nice rich coffee flavor. And if you don't want much of coffee in your drink, you can go for 1 shot. So what you do is put your coffee first, so that's nice and warm in your cocktail shaker. Then you pump your spice chai syrup in. So 1 pump is perfectly enough. That's 10 ml. So I have my syrup and the coffee in. Now I'm going to add my milk. So I'll be adding around 150 ml of milk because I'm going to add ice and shake. So there'll be a little bit of dilution. So 3-4 ice cubes should do. That's 1, 2, and that's my last piece of ice. Nice. Close your cocktail shaker. Put the lid in and give a nice shake. Once that's done, take a glass and let me make it a bit interesting again. So most of you like to have some cream in your drink. So let's make some cream as well to enjoy this thing. So I have my canister. Very easy to make cream. So what you need is a canister and you need some cream. Very simple recipe to follow. So this is a 500 ml canister. I'll be filling this with 1/3 of cream. So to be very precise, it's around 166 ml of cream. The cream goes in. Close your canister. Done. Make sure it's locked. Now what you do is you charge your cream with a nitrogen particle. So maybe some of you are very familiar with this. For you it's new. You can buy it in any shop that sells cake stuff. Ask for a nitrogen charger for fresh cream and they will use. So upside down, release the gas. You can hear it. Then give a nice shake. And you have your cream ready. So now I'll pour my drink very quickly into this. Yeah. Couple of ice cubes into the drink. And you can finish your drink with some cream. Very easy thing to make. And sorry, there's a little bit of mess here. And there you go with your spiced chai latte with 1 cup of espresso. Again, if you want to make this coffee hot, very simple. Pocket the ice, steam the milk, put the milk first, put your syrup in, finish with a shot of espresso. So those are the 3 drinks what we have for you today. And now we'll be going for the polls. And if you have further questions, please send those questions in. So now we're going for our poll. So our first question for today was, okay, how long or what's the perfect coffee for cold brew extraction? So there was 2 choices, one was Arabica and one was Robusta, and most of you have got it right. So most of you have got the question or the answer. Arabica was perfect. So again, if I say why Arabica is good for cold application, better because Robusta has some bitter notes what can wake up in a cold application. And now we are into our second poll. So what's the perfect brew time for cold brew? Yes, most of you have answered it right. It should be anything from 16 to 24 hours, depends on your preference. So cold brew, it releases its flavors and aromas with time because there's no heat involved. So you need time, and because of the time, more contact time, more caffeine. So there's a lot of caffeine in cold brew than a regular coffee. And now into our third poll. What's the main ingredient of Spanish latte? It seems like most of you got the answer right. So excellent. Yes, the main ingredient of what it makes Spanish latte is the condensed milk. Condensed milk is what it gives that sweetness to the drink and what creates that beautiful body to the drink, what gives that thickness, the mouthfeel, and the texture to your Spanish latte. So those are our polls for today, and now I'm ready to take any of your questions.
So you do have a lot of questions, right? Yes, Gihan, you have a lot of questions waiting for you. The first question is about the temperature, the right temperature of water to start the cold brew. Somebody had asked about the temperature, and I said room temperature water. Is that right?
Room temperature is the correct answer, but again, how hot your room temperature matters as well. So if you in the summer in Dubai, your room temperature might be around 40, so then there's a slight problem. So it's better to, in that case, it's better to use a cold one. If not, during winter time, the room temperature water is perfect for cold brew.
And Monica would like to know how long does the cold brew concentrate last in the refrigerator?
Look, generally it's good up to 5 days. So the standard what followed in the market commercially, it's the shelf life of cold brew is around 5 days. So it doesn't go bad, but it will have, or it will be at the best for 5 days in your refrigerator.
And Monica also wants to know if she could mix Irish cream with cold brew.
Irish cream with cold brew, little bit tricky. I'll tell you why it's tricky, because cold brew, it still has some acidity in it. So your Irish cream, what you choose, should be the right Irish cream. If not, there might be a reaction with your milk and your acidity of the coffee. So if you manage to find the right Irish cream, it will work very well. But sometimes some coffees and milk, when it mixed together, it gives that caramelizing effect. So you have to be very careful with the Irish cream what you choose.
And Hani wants to know, can we do hot brew and then chill it in the refrigerator and make it into a cold brew?
Look, the whole point of doing a cold brew is you don't want any heat involved. So once heat involved, there's a possibility it can extract those harsh, bitter flavors of the coffee. So the whole point of the cold brew is not extracting any of those bitter notes. So if you want to make it hot, make a cold brew, make it concentrated, make it slightly strong, add some hot water and have it. It will not change the flavor, but you can't make a hot brew and make it cold. It's not going to have the same flavor.
Okay, so Joseph says, is it better to keep the coffee out of the refrigerator when steeping?
Okay, look, I have tried this technique. In winter, it works fine. But in summer in Dubai, if you steep your cold brew outside, it changes the flavor of the coffee. It's trying to extract some of those bitter notes. So in winter, it will be perfectly fine, but in summer, you have to be a bit careful because the temperature rises and it can affect the flavors of the brew, and it can extract some of those bitter notes of the coffee. So at this time, if you want to brew it tomorrow, it will be perfect to keep it outside. There's no problem.
Okay, so Kimbugwe would like to know, how do you calibrate new beans?
How do I calibrate my beans?
Yes. And I suppose he wants to know, how would you gauge its strength? The strength of the beans that you have, a new set of beans that you've got.
Okay. I think I'm getting what you're trying to explain. So this can vary for different reasons. It can be the origin of the bean. It can be if it's a single origin of the blend. It can be the roast. So if you're choosing coffee what has some darker roast, it can extract some of those harsh bitter notes. So it's a very tricky question. It can change because of so many things. So for you, if you're looking to extract or if you're trying to brew a cold brew, the perfect or my favorite is the Colombian coffee. Go for a lighter roast, always works well. But according to your question, the bean, it can have different flavors because of so many different things. It can be the origin, it can be the processing method, it can be the roast, it can be so many different things. So it's a very tricky question to answer.
So I think the best way to do it when you get a new batch of coffee is to actually make one lot and test it and see how it works, whether you need to increase the amount or decrease the amount or work that way with it.
I'm still confused with the question. Okay.
Never mind.
Okay. Let's say you're buying coffee. So if you're buying coffee, if you're an espresso drinker, from the place you buy the coffee, ask for espresso. Drink your espresso. Once you drink the espresso, ask them, okay, how many grams of coffee you use and how long you extract for. So then you can ask the following two questions. You can ask, okay, what's the temperature of your water from the brew head and what pressure you have set your coffee machine for. So if you want to go in technically, so drink your coffee first, then agree to buy or then buy. So, but again, if you are an espresso drinker, you try espresso, you buy coffee beans, and if you try to make a V60 from that coffee at home, again it will be a completely different flavor. So buy the coffee on what you drink and follow the same brewing method when you bring it home.
So Sumaya would like to know, can we use plant-based milk for the Spanish latte? But
yes,
then Sumaya, what about the
from Germany? So yes, you can use plant-based. I know you are a vegan. Oat milk was perfect for cold brew. But again, cold brew as alone, it's always nice, or you can put some syrup, or if you want to put some plant-based, yes, oat milk will work very well with cold brew.
Okay, so the last question is from Sumaya once again. She says, is the medium roast for the espresso better or the dark roast better?
For espresso, dark roast, I always prefer the dark roast. The reason is I don't like a lot of acidity in the coffee. So if you in the same page as me, if you don't like a lot of acidity, it's good to have a dark roast. But if you like the acidity, it's always good to go for a light roast. So for me personally, I don't like much of acidity in my coffee, and I'm a bit old, so I like those bold flavors what you get from a espresso. I need that rich flavor, so I always prefer the dark roast than a light roast for espresso.
Okay, one last question. What is the difference between Gauri would like to know, Gauri Shankar would like to know what's the difference between Arabica and Robusta?
Okay. Arabica and Robusta, there's a lot of difference. I have answered this question three times. I'll answer it again. So, Arabica, it prefers the high latitude. So, it grows in higher land. So, basically, it will grow above 600 meters from the sea level. And Robusta can grow from sea level up to 600 to 800. So these are the growing conditions, and Arabica prefers low temperature and Robusta prefers high temperature. It can grow anything from 24 to 30. So this is the growing conditions. If it comes to flavors and characters, Arabica has a nice acidity and good aromas. It's called as the premium coffee, what's used in most of the coffee shops or what has a very high demand. 70% of the global production is equal to Arabica, or they produce a lot of Arabica. Robusta, on the other hand, it has some good, harsh flavors, what people doesn't have straight, except in Sicily. Yeah, in Sicily, they have 100% Robusta blends, but in other part of the world, they use Robusta only to blend for their espresso blend. They just add it to give more flavor on the body. And Robusta has twice caffeine than the Arabica. So if you're looking for that caffeine, definitely you need Robusta. So Robusta basically the underdog of coffee. It's not a bad coffee. It's something really good if you use it in the right way. So these are the main two differences I can say about Arabica and Robusta at this point. Or if you want more details, you can come and see me at ICCA.
That's all the questions for today, Gihan.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being with us for past 4 weeks. And this is going to end here, but I'm sure we'll come with some new stuff very soon. So wait for updates, follow us on all our social media platforms for more updates. And thank you very much once again, and over to you, Shana. I'll miss you guys.
Thank you, Gihan. They'll come for you. They'll come for you. So don't worry. And I had the pleasure of tasting the cold brew with the peach. It was so amazingly refreshing. And the Spanish latte, I think I'm going to experiment with that and make it with dulce de leche and give it an ICCA twist. Thank you, Gihan, for all the wonderful things that you've taught us. And for everyone else who's on this webinar with us, if you're interested in getting the perfect cup of coffee, now you know where to start. At ICCA, we thank you for being with us on our webinars, and your support encourages our team to work on new ideas of what you might want to watch. So help us by giving us some ideas, and look forward to seeing you with us for Sugarcraft on Saturday with Nasreen Dunki. Same time and same place. Until then.
Thank you, Shana.